What's up, YouTube? Pink Reaper here. Not playing Yu-Gi-Oh. This is clearly not me playing Yu-Gi-Oh. This is As Nice White Dragon. Well, this was As Nice White Dragon playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm using an old video of him playing, just to have something going on in the background while I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, so a while back, I kind of made a while back with my Stuff Pink Likes video, I made a joke that I might make a video called Stuff Pink Hates and talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And while I'm not actually going to title it that, I'm not going to say this is about me hating Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to talk about why I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. Because there's been a lot of people asking me, well, when are you going to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Again? Why don't you still play Yu-Gi-Oh! Etc. 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 Why isn't your channel Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore? Um, to get into that, I want to talk about why I feel Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become a very terrible game. It's definably terrible. In fact, I can actually go back and show you where Yu-Gi-Oh started to become a very bad game. Um, and to do that, I gotta go back a bit. So I've mentioned this a lot before. When I originally started playing Yu-Gi-Oh when the game first came out, my my first cards ever from Yu-Gi-Oh was a Yugi starter deck. I had first edition Legend of Blue Eyes packs. In fact, one of the first pack I ever opened had an Exodia head in it. Um, should have kept it too. Apparently, first edition LOB Exodia head's worth at least a little bit of money. Oh well. Anyway, but then after a while, I don't remember what the last set to come out was after I stopped playing was, but after a while I stopped playing, um, and then right around, God, what year was it? 2008, 2009. I don't remember. A while back. I started playing again right as Synchro Monsters actually were coming out. Synchro Monsters were the new thing right when I started playing again. I got back into it because Azanize was getting into it. He wanted to play. He asked me if I'd ever played, and I kind of got with him on it, and I told him what kind of how the game works, and then that combined with him playing some of the actual handheld games, he kind of learned how to play the game. Um, on my old Yu-Gi-Oh, or on my old Dueling Network account, I had a thing that said I taught Asnice everything he knows about Yu-Gi-Oh. That's not true, but I did help teach him how to learn to play at least. But take that for what you will. We'll try and avoid any misplays in this particular video. um, but I feel Yu-Gi-Oh as it is now has become um, too fast. That is to say, it's sort of like an OTK or lose kind of game at this point. You either there's really only two ways to play. You either play a deck that's going to one turn just win. You don't have to try. You don't have to do anything. You do all your damage all at once. Or you play a game that's a deck that's a complete opposite. You just have a deck that makes it so your opponent can't play at all. Both I feel are kind of the same thing. Anyways, you're pretty much just playing your own game, and your opponent just happens to be there. Um, and I feel like it all started with the Synchro Monsters. Now going back to this, when I first started playing Synchro Monsters, or when I first started playing Synchro Monsters were the thing, it was really weird for me because back when I had originally played, the idea that you had to have two monsters out on the field to do anything was insane. Like, there was a reason no one ever played, level 7, level 8 monsters, really, unless they could special summon themselves, like VLS, Chaos Emperor Dragon, and such. And that was because it's very difficult to put multiple cards on the field without using, other resources. When Synchro Monsters became a thing, Konami clearly wanted these things, they wanted this to be the big thing. They wanted people to buy these cards. And in order for Synchro Monsters to work, you have to be able to get multiple monsters on the field. So right around then, they started making cards that could just special summon. Like, it was either a card, when this card is summoned, special summon something else, or it was just a card that could special summon itself, or things like that. So that you could get the necessary levels onto the field to make a Synchro Monster. Because, I mean, let's be honest, if there weren't all these cards that could special summon themselves, how would you do it? How would you throw a level 2 tuner on the field and then keep it there long enough to get a level 4 monster on the field to make a level 6? You wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. But they started moving towards that. They started moving towards cards that could special summon themselves. Now, obviously, in between when I started playing again and when I had stopped playing originally, there were other cards that came out that could special summon themselves. I mean, Cyber Dragon became a thing while I wasn't playing, but there weren't a lot of them. But if you look back now, if you look back at tuners and you look back at monsters that have been released since Synchro Monsters came out, there are an absolute ton of cards that allow you to just special summon monsters from your hand, from your graveyard, from your deck. There's just so many of them. And that's understandable because obviously you need that to be able to play Synchro Monsters. And then from there, obviously a lot of Synchro Monsters were really, really, really powerful, like insanely powerful. But I don't ever feel like it really broke the game. I don't feel like Trish being a thing actually broke the game. I mean, getting Trish sucked, but there were a lot of easy answers to Trish. There were a lot of ways to stop Trish. Valor obviously became a thing. It wasn't particularly easy to get Trish out either, It still did require 3 monsters, one of which being a tuner. I mean, at the time, Trish was, difficult. Bionic, that one's a little less so. That one's actually very strong. But, they did start introducing really ridiculously strong cards at the time, but it didn't really feel broken. Fast forward a bit, now we have XYZ monsters, and XYZs are not the same as Synchros. It's a completely different beast. With an XYZ monster, you need not only to be able to special summon, you need to be able to put multiple monsters in the field, but they need to be the same level. And this worked, okay when XYZs first came out, because there were already, just level 4 cards that did whatever. And there weren't a lot of, crazy rank XYZ monsters. The big stuff was obviously rank 3, because they introduced Tour Guide. Oh my god, that card is retarded. But not a lot of stuff was broken. But then it started to get insane. They started to introduce really, really broken XYZ cards, XYZ combos, and stuff like that. But they also started introducing super high-level stuff, and that's where we get to now. Or not high-level, high-rank things. They start releasing rank 7, rank 8 XYZ cards, and they really want you to play these cards. They want to push them. They want to sell them. They don't make these cards for you not to buy them. Konami is making these rank 8, rank 7, rank 6 monsters so that you can, play them. Or so that you'll buy them. They want to make money off of these things. But in order for you to play them, you need to be able to put level 7 monsters, level 8 monsters, level 6 monsters on the field easily. And that's kind of where we've gotten for the game. There's so many decks, and there's so many just straight-up cards that can just straight-up put a level 7, level 8, level 6 card on the field. I don't know why I keep going in that order. Level 6, 7, or 8 card on the field. And they, and they're not scaling it. It's not like a 400 attacker, 800 defense kind of card. It's these are normal level 7 monsters. And when you look at all the E-Dragons, with the exception of the Earth one, all of them had very usable attack stats. You see stuff like Abyss Megalo in Mermails. There's just a lot of, high attacking monsters. And the fact that you can put them on the field so easily, combined with the fact that there's still a lot of level 4 monsters, level 3 monsters that you can just easily special summon, we've gotten to the point where it's far too easy to put way too much attack onto the field. Combined with the fact that there is still the power creep. There are more and more broken cards coming out. There's cards that let you, basically search anything out of your deck. There's so much support. There's for specific archetypes. Archetypes are a big thing honestly now. We've gotten to the point where archetypes are sort of what you do now with games. Everything is all the support you're going to get is for a specific archetype, and it's so you build that deck with just that archetype, and then everything supports your deck suddenly. I think an easy example of this we can go to is Lightsworns. At least for the idea of archetype stuff. Actually, it has kind of everything I'm about to talk about here. You've got cards that can just special summon themselves, like Wolf. You have, or the new tuners they just introduced. You have cards, that can special summon other cards, like Lumina. And then you have, a card like JD where it's just like special summon itself and then blow up the whole field. Why is that a thing? Do you have any idea how insane that effect is? I still think Judgment Dragon is one of like the top 5 most obscene cards to ever exist. It doesn't require combos. It doesn't require anything. It requires 4 names in a graveyard, and then suddenly you've got 3,000 free attack. That's absurd. But anyway, but that's what we've moved to. We've moved to decks that can just throw out a monster. Everyone remembers Dark Worlds, right? No one plays it anymore, but I mean, think about that. There's so many cards in that deck that could just special summon themselves while you're activating effects that also let you draw. You had Grapha, who, no matter what, like, once it's in the grave, it's just there. Grapha's forever. And now you introduce XYZs as well, where it's like, oh, even if my card, has a negative effect, it doesn't matter. I can summon a couple of overlay and get this awesome card, use its effect. We have stuff like Gaia Charger now, where it's like, oh, I have a rank 6 that, it has an awesome effect, but now I can't do anything with that card. That's cool. Overlay Gaia Charger, now my card's live again. It's far too easy to summon all of these monsters. It's far too easy to put so much attack on the field. For the game to really be competitively deep anymore. It's far, far too simple. And now I say that while we're watching, Asnais play against Cloudians, but this video is like over a year old, so whatever. You get what I'm saying, though. And especially for a deck to be competitive, you kind of have to rely on OTKs. You can't make a deck where, your big play just puts one big monster on the field, and then that's it. Even if that monster has a really good effect, most decks will probably have a way to get around it, and then suddenly you're just out. And when I say competitive, I don't mean like, you have to be like you're playing a tier deck. I'm saying if you're going to make a deck, even if it's a joke deck, even if it's a fun deck, generally, if you want to be able to win with that deck, you have to be able to OTK. Because if you don't, your opponent's going to be able to OTK, because they're going to be able to throw, a bunch of monsters on the field and just attack over you or whatever, do whatever they need to do. The one sort of... the only card that comes to mind where that's not true is like BL's, that new Synchro monster, and even that has things that can get around it. Some of the stuff is fairly common, but think about it, that's one card that exists out of how many tens of thousands that actually exist, where you could actually just only throw that card up and actually sort of be okay. Now obviously there are combos and stuff like that but again, we're not getting into that. I'm trying not to talk too much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta and stuff like that, but because of that, because of the way the game has become, because of the fact that it's OTK or lose, it's so easy to just throw obscene huge cards on the field, all of that. I can't play it anymore. I don't feel like anything I'm doing really matters when I play the game, because I'm either going, if I go back and play Pink Plants again, my only option is to make Quasar, basically, because if I don't make Quasar and I go for a push, well, then I'll have used up a bunch of resources, I won't have won, and then that card will probably just get destroyed next turn. It used to be the joke was, anytime you go for a big push, if you're not going to win, you're just going to get Dark Hold. Well, nowadays, they don't even need Dark Hold. Like, friggin' every deck just has, like, field wipes, or has so many options to get over cards, it just doesn't matter anymore. So, that's just sort of how it is. I can't bring myself to play the game anymore, and I apologize to all the thousands of subscribers I got who, obviously, they subscribed to my channel because they really liked me playing Yu-Gi-Oh! They liked hearing me talk. I did kind of ride on Dee Dee's coattails for a little bit there in the beginning, but I'd like to think the 11,000 subs I actually got on, at least the majority of them I got on my own. But I'm not going back. I'm sorry. There is nothing Konami can do to fix this game anymore, without just straight up restarting it, just like banning absolutely everything and just making an entirely new game, in which case you're not even playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. I apologize for everyone who wants to see me play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not going to happen. I am 100% done with this game. I cannot bring myself to play it anymore, and that's just sort of how it is. I still kind of keep up with it. I mean, Asnai's obviously, this is basically his job, so I spend a lot of time with him. I spend a lot of time around the cards, but you may randomly see me in one of his videos one day. Like, I might show up at his house while he's recording. It's wouldn't be the first time. It's happened quite a few times. But at least on this channel, probably no more Yu-Gi-Oh! But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Pink Reaper signing out.